Hello and welcome everyone. So what I want to do today is actually show you how we do teaching in the times of coronavirus. So like many universities out there, also we here at the Friedrich-Alexander-Universität in Erlangen-Nuremberg in Germany need to be doing our teaching online in the near future. So for us, the semester hasn't started yet, but it will start soon. And so we're migrating all of our content to online. And I thought, I'll do something that I was planning to do for a long time and build up a decent setup for online teaching. So essentially, what I've done is build up a little TV studio, if you will, which allows us to broadcast what we would usually do in a lecture. So do PowerPoint, obviously talking, do PowerPoint presentations, and do writings on a chalkboard or on a blackboard. And we want to do that in a reasonable or in a quality that's worthy of the content and a quality that the students actually would wanna watch the lectures in. And so what I want to do today is actually give you a bit of a walk around of what the hardware is and what the software is that we're using for that, so that if you're interested, you might replicate it for your own setup. So the basis of the whole thing is, of course, that you have a PC with a multi-monitor setup, and it should be a relatively decent PC with a good amount of memory and a good amount of hard drive. And a good audio setup, so a good microphone. You can already see it a little bit in here. We're not using a lapel microphone, but a proper condenser microphone. Makes a very big difference. And also a drawing tablet. So the drawing tablet essentially replaces the chalkboard or the whiteboard. And it does so actually, I personally think, better than a chalkboard or a whiteboard could ever do. I've already used it in regular teaching in the last semester, and so it came in handy when I came up with the streaming setup. So let me just give you a little walk down of what the hardware looks like. So you can see here I'm in our little TV studio, if you will, and it consists out of, as I said, the PC. Then we have got 4 screens. One of the screens is a Wacom Cintiq Pro drawing tablet. And this is obviously a relatively expensive one, costs about 2,000 euros. You can get cheaper ones. And we've got 3 webcams for different positions. And the third webcam that I'm using to record right now is usually used to demonstrate things to students, like if I bring a piece of material into the lecture, I usually do that and show that on this camera, or would show that on this camera, but for now I've just set it up so that I can show you what the room looks like. Okay, so what else do we have? So we've got the PC with the screens, the Wacom tablet, then the condenser microphone, very important. When you do the broadcast, I highly recommend to also use decent headphones and plug them into the microphone so that you can actually hear what the sound is like. Otherwise, if you're moving around, then the audio quality will start changing, which is really, really annoying if you do that on a stream, okay? So monitor the whole thing with a decent set of headphones. Then hardware-wise, I think, oh no, the one thing that's missing, oh, sorry, I dropped the pen now. Dropped the pen. Hardware-wise, what's also missing is this thing here, which is the Stream Deck. So it's a little thing from a company called Elgato. Maybe there are other companies that make that as well, which is just a bunch of different buttons here. And each button switches to different scenes, a different camera and screen setup, which makes it really easy to do to switch between the scenes and to make sure that you're always at the right screen at the right time, which is what you really should be doing. You can also use it to switch the recording and the streaming on and off and so on and so forth. Integrates very well with Open Broadcast Studio, by the way. And so if I go into the control screen, you can already see there is a bunch of different things. So here what I have is Open Broadcast Studio, and Open Broadcast Studio, as I've mentioned, is the broadcast software we use. And it's free and open source. You can just download it and set up various scenes. We have scenes for the tablet, we have scenes for the presenter screen, and we have those for PowerPoint slides in 4x3 and 16:9. So you get a bunch of different scenes you might want to have. The other thing that I have on that screen is the PowerPoint control program, whatever you want to call that, that allows you to go to the sorry, what's the wrong one? That goes you to the next slide, and so on and so forth. You can already do, of course, do that also on the PowerPoint screen itself. Then I have one window open where I monitor the file size. You can see the files get relatively big. We are broadcasting at 1080p, and I think especially if you're doing things on the chalkboard, or you have images or anything in your lectures, you might want to go 1080p. If you have lectures where it's mostly just text, it might be possible to go to lower quality. So you can see we're already at 0.5 GB. That's why I said decent size memory, decent size hard drive. And this is why I also have the task manager open here. And I don't know why it moved right now, but I also want to be able to monitor the amount of memory that's used right now. As you can see, we're using 24%. If you do long recordings, you might actually start to max out the memory, and you might have to go in and just stop the recording for a second and then restart it again and just save everything out so that it's saved and not in memory. The other thing that's maybe important about this thing here is that all of our files are in MKV format, so they're not MP4 or anything. The reason for that is that this is a format that can deal with crashes. So if you set up crashes or anything, then you'll be able to recover all the content. MP4, if the file is corrupted, everything's gone. Or it's not easily recoverable. Let's put it that way. Then the other screen, so this is the one monitor screen that we use. The other screens that we have is, and I'll just show you this one in the room because I haven't opened it up yet. But essentially, what we usually have in here is that we have this extra window that we move onto that screen that just replicates the output of the Open Broadcast software. And the reason why that is important is this screen is what you would share with the students via Zoom, okay? Or via Skype or via any other video conferencing tool. So our university ports Zoom, and so we're going to be using Zoom, and you can just use this, you can just use this screen to have the window open and share it via Zoom so that the people can see what you're doing. But the main action is always happening on the presenter screen up here. Let me just switch to the presenter screen. So the presenter screen in this case is set up now for a 4:3 presentation, and you can see that leaves us a little bit of space on the side so you can see me and the logo of the institute. And there you can do your teaching via PowerPoint, which is relatively simple. So you've got the options to obviously go and use sort of mock laser pointer to do pointing, but you can also draw on your PowerPoint slides. Draw and write. Of course, if you do that via mouse, it looks like a 3-year-old is drawing or writing. So you might want to use the pen tablet, and that's what we're using also as the chalkboard replacement. So obviously you don't have to have PowerPoint on the screen up here. You can move it down to the tablet screen. And the tablet screen is this thing here. It's this thing here. And essentially it's a screen. In this case, it's a 4K screen, but we're not broadcasting in 4K. It's not touch sensitive, so I can move up here and lean against it and it won't trigger the touch, which would be really annoying. But it has this pen, and this pen here has, a pen tip that if you use the right program is going to be pressure sensitive for drawing, and the back is going to be an eraser. So this doesn't work with PowerPoint. In PowerPoint, it's always just a pointer. But if you're using a drawing program like Photoshop, or I'm using Krita, then you can use it. You can use it for drawing, and you've got a primary and a secondary button. And the primary button is set up to select what kind of drawing tool you want to use and color what you want to use. Secondary button I haven't set up for anything yet. You can set it up to, I think, whatever you want. So let's just switch to the tablet so that you can see why the tablet is so awesome. So you can see here we've got a second webcam, and the second webcam just looks at a more flattering angle for working on a drawing tablet. And you can see on the drawing tablet already, I teach classes where we teach tensor mechanics. So I've just drawn a tensor as a demo. And on Krita, you can see you've got all kinds of drawing tools. You've got layers, very handy if you do that kind of drawing, especially when you need to start erasing things. And yeah, you can just draw. And for that, you can push the primary button and just select a color and select some kind of drawing tool, whatever you want. I'll just use that brush that I like a lot and set it to the right kind of size. And then you can say, welcome to the stream. Yep. And you can already see it's pressure sensitive. So if on a light touch, it's very thin, and the harder I press, the thicker it gets. And if I turn around the pen, I'll get to the eraser, and that's pressure sensitive as well. So on a light touch, it's a very tight eraser, and if I press harder, it becomes bigger. And this just makes teaching on a chalkboard really nice. And I think it's better than teaching on an actual chalkboard. So I've been using it for my lectures already in the last semester, and it was very much appreciated because, first of all, you can use a lot of colors, you can get very creative. And the other reason is, of course, the students can see it during the lecture, but you can also just save it out and then just give it to them as a PNG or as some kind of imaging format. This is obviously a pixelgraphic program, just like Photoshop as well. I've tried out pixelgraphic versus vector graphics, and pixel graphics, if you do chalkboard drawings, is just much easier to handle. So during the broadcast, obviously it would be set up a little bit different. So during the broadcast, it's set up like this, so that you don't see the actual tools because they're just distracting from the content. So on the tools, you can see the different things that that I've drawn on the chalkboard, but not the tools. No. And I think that's it so far. Maybe one last comment. Almost more important than the video quality is the audio quality. Yeah. So really make sure that you've got a good microphone, a condenser microphone, and really make sure that you're monitoring the audio while you're doing the broadcast, because otherwise you're going to be sounding like this at one point and then like this, and if you move back around, the audio quality will change, which is really annoying. So yeah, I hope a lot of you out there are going to be doing some really awesome content as well in the next semester. I think coronavirus, again, is not just a threat, but it's also a chance for us to really make a lot of knowledge accessible to a lot of people. And I'm really looking forward to watching some great online content created by people that know much more about things that I want to know about, because it's obviously not just about me teaching my students, but I always also want to be a lifelong student and see other people's lectures out there and learn new things. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're interested in streaming, or if you have some special some specific questions about this setup, just leave them in the comment. And again, yeah, I hope to see some really great content out there in the near future.